kind of have this session now, wasn't it, really? So that, because I know people are quite anxious actually about, you know, everything opening up as well as how it's been. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Well, I will leave it to you, Jemima, the expert.
Well, thanks for setting it all up, and thanks for everything. So yeah, well, I just want to say hi before we get going.
Okay, all right, thank you.
See you after. Great, good. So good evening, everybody. Welcome. A few people more joining, but we'll get going. So as I was just saying to Denise, then we're talking a lot of people are anxious about going back out as things change. We've been programmed for the last year or more than a year now to be afraid of people, social distancing we have to do, but we have to be careful. We all know what's going on. But as we are being asked to come back out into the world, it's scary for a lot of people. I know someone who's been commuting for 20 years on the train into London. She doesn't feel like she's going to be able to come back to doing that, even though she did that every day, for working life for all that time. So there's been some big shifts for a lot of people. Some people are talking about, I don't know how to do the small talk anymore. And a lot of people have noticed how they've been doing things they didn't want to do. And with the pandemic coming in and people having to stay at home and having to self-isolate, there's been quite a few people who've said, oh, it's great, actually, I don't have to go and do that thing. I didn't like doing that before. So I think people are having to manage their own boundaries and get to look after themselves in a different way. So if you're new to tapping, then I'll just give an overview anyway. Tapping is also known as EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique, and it's a process a little bit like acupuncture without the needles. It's a process of tapping on specific points on the head and hands to move energy through your body. And we get blockages in our energy system that stop the flow of energy and trap emotions in the body. And those blockages are caused by toxins, or the certain things that we drink affect the energy flow. Our core beliefs, those things affect our energy too, and trauma from the past. So these three main things are what affect the energy flow in the body. As I'm going through, if you have any questions, please pop them in the chat box. You can raise your hand if you need to. We're going to be doing some tapping, so we're going to be experiencing it. So it's one of those things. It's easy to do. It's really, really easy to do. It's kind of slightly strange to explain. And if you've done tapping, you'll know exactly what I mean. If you haven't, you'll understand in a minute. But it's a really easy, simple self-help technique. And once you've learned the points, you've got everything you need, basically, because you can just tap through anytime you need to. Anytime you're feeling stressed or worried or anxious, you can use this technique to calm the symptoms down in the moment, so you can start to relax. You can come out of stress, out of anxiety, out of panic attacks, whatever's going on, and into rest and relaxation, which is the place we all want to be. We tend not to be in that place very often. We stay stressed a lot of the time. There are different triggers for that. Time, social expectations, work, deadlines, emails, sounds, we're triggered all the time. So if we think of cavemen, and we all know about the kind of saber-toothed tiger attacks, fight or flight response that we have. If back in the day when we were evolving, if we were attacked by a tiger, then you'd fight or run away, and then you'd get back to the cave and you'd rest and heal your body. You give that time and space to kind of get over whatever it is that you'd gone through. But we don't tend to come out of the stress anymore. We stay in fight or flight because we don't have the space, the time to really relax. And some people can kind of, like, because of everything they've been through in their lives, and if you've had a difficult childhood or different issues, stresses that are always there, I know some people who say, I don't know if I've ever actually felt properly relaxed. There's part of us can be on high alert the whole time. And we're not going to go into any big stuff this evening, but I'm going to teach you various techniques that you can use yourself to take the edge off any anxiety, take back some control, and feel better, basically. As I say, once you've learnt the points and you can just tap and breathe, you're going to start to change how you feel, and then you can start to go deeper. So as I'm going through, if you can tell me what you're experiencing, I won't mention any names, it'll be completely anonymous. So you can type into the chat box what you're feeling, so that I can make it really relevant to you, so that you're going to really experience a shift this evening. As you know, the charity that we are donating to this evening is called Hope Again, and it's for children who have lost loved ones. And over the last year, obviously, we've all been through a huge amount. There's collective grief, there's personal grief. And so we're bearing that in mind, but we're going to be focusing on anxiety. And the more that we can do for ourselves, the more we're going to affect the people around us and society in general. So thank you for being here. Thank you for helping yourself, because you're helping other people too. Good. So any questions or thoughts before we start doing some tapping in the first place? And can you hear me okay? Presumably you can, because no one's been waving at me. But and a few more people have been joining. So hi, good evening. Great. So it can take a little while for any comments to come through, but great, we're going to get going in a moment. If you have a pen and paper, that's really handy, but you don't need one. So if you haven't got one handy, don't worry. It's going to ask you a few questions for your own benefit. It's good to have water as well if you do have some. So nobody's writing in, so I hope you're all okay. So I will be doing some general tapping, and hopefully we'll have a shift. So I don't know if people aren't writing because they don't want to, or because some people, if you're on your phone, I don't think you're able to. So we're going to start. All right. So if you've never experienced EFT before, I'm going to show you the breath test to start with. And if you have, this is going to be a really good place just to ground yourself. Good. So just take a few breaths, get comfy, relax. Take a few breaths, close your eyes, and just hold your hands over your heart center. Breathe into your heart. Just breathe into your heart, and then take a few breaths. Take a deep breath. Fill your lungs as much as you can. Just notice how full your lungs feel, and just let that go. And just notice how full your lungs this evening as a percentage. Are they 50% full, 70, 80, 100% full? What does that feel like? Just notice what that feels like. Really notice if there's any constriction when you're breathing. Good. And then we're going to do some tapping, and we're going to breathe again and notice if there's any change there. All right. Good. So keep your one hand over your heart, take 2 fingers from the other hand and start tapping on top of the head. So it's right on the top of the head using 2 fingers and tapping fairly gently. We normally tap about 7 times on each point, and the next point is the beginning of the eyebrow. And breathe. And the side of the eye. So each of the points that we're tapping is the beginning of the energy line in the body. And under the eye. Some of the points can feel tender, some of them can be comforting. You might not feel anything under the nose. And each point relates to a different organ and a different energy, different emotion in the body. On the chin. Nice deep breath. And the next point is the beginning of the collarbone. So this point here, just below the beginning of the collarbone, I call this the emergency tapping point. So this is actually the anxiety point. It relates to the kidneys, the kidney meridian, the kidney energy line. And when there's a trauma or something difficult going on, it's very isolating. You can feel that kind of goldfish bowl feeling disconnected. This point here will start to bring you back into your body, start to ground you and calm you. So if you might notice, even I'm taking a breath as I'm tapping here, because it helps to relax and calm your system. And as you're tapping, we're just going to stay on this point for a moment. As you're tapping through the body, through the points, you might notice that you yawn, that you take a deeper breath, that you sigh, that you cry. You might have some energy shift going through your body, some energy movement. And that's just a sign that things are starting to, the blockages in the energy system are starting to clear. Because what we're doing is we're sending a physical vibration along the energy line, we're sending electrical pulse, electricity flowing through us. And then normally we would describe any feeling that we wanted to clear. But for this particular exercise, we're just tapping and breathing and releasing. Good. And the next point is just below, on the side of the rib cage, about 4 inches below the armpits. Tapping on the side there. So this is known as the sugar point. So it can be quite, it's a lymph node and it can be quite tender. Doesn't mean something wrong, but it can be tender, that one. Then with your palm facing you and your thumb up, it's the side of the nail that's closest to you on the thumb. And same point on the first finger, side of the nail, middle finger, ring finger, little finger, and the side of the hand. So those are all the points. We'll just whiz through those again. One hand over your heart, tapping on top of the head. And this top of the head point is a really good grounding one as well. If you kind of feel a bit spacey, or if you can't remember where you've left your keys or something like that, this is a really good point. You can just sit and tap on this point and breathe. The next point is the beginning of the eyebrow, this side of the eye, under the eye, under the nose, on the chin, collarbone, and breathing under the arm, the side of the rib cage, and through the points, side of the nail and the thumb, same point on the first finger, middle finger, ring finger, little finger, and the side of the hand. Lovely. Hands of your heart. Take another breath. Good. Well done. You've just done some tapping. So if you've never done it before, that's it. It's that simple. And if you have done it before, how are you feeling? If you have tapped before, you can feel that your body quickly shifts into releasing. Okay, lovely. So now just take another deep breath. And notice how full does your lung feel now? If that was 50%, has that gone up? What's that percentage like now as you take that breath? So you might find that it's just easier somehow. We haven't done anything, we've just done this tapped and breathed, and there's this shift in the energy in the way that you're taking in that breath. Just notice what that feels like. And if you can pop that in the chat box, I'd love to hear how you find that. Good. Some people don't have any change when they're doing that. Easier. Lovely. Thank you. Good. Great. So we're going to start now to peel away calmer, more breath. Lovely. Good. So you're already feeling calmer. Lovely. Good. Wonderful. Good. That's great. Thank you. So we're going to start looking at anxiety now. And anxiety has various different symptoms. And some of them we're really familiar with. Butterflies in the tummy, kind of shortness of breath, racing heart. Those are all the fight or flight responses. Those are the kind of obvious ones. You might find you have cold hands, cold feet, that affects your circulation, but also long-term stress and anxiety can affect the non-essential body functions, basically, which is your digestion, reproductive system, immune system. Those things can be compromised if you're in stress and anxiety often, because you're either stressed or you're relaxed. You can't be in both. And when you're relaxed, your body systems can work properly, with much more easily. Denise, I know, works with this all the time. Also, we have a lot of crossover in our work. The more the body is functioning as it should, as it can, the quicker it's going to heal itself. We're just guiding it to do its own work. Good. So let's look at anxiety and what that feels like to you. So you can put this in the back box if you'd like to. If you're not, you can just notice it. But I don't want to trigger you too much, but think back to a situation that makes you feel anxious. Nothing too major, as I say, but it might be even just the thought of going back out, lockdown, changing. It's been the last few weeks, a lot of people have been quite kind of feeling quite unsettled by the changes that are happening. So what has that been like for you? How do you experience anxiety when you feel anxious? Maybe you're not worried about coming out of lockdown at all. but maybe there's something else that's triggering that anxiety. So just kind of bring it to the back of your mind. And it might be a situation that's been resolved from the past that you've cleared, but just notice when you feel anxious, what happens to your body? Where do you feel that? Is it in your breath? Is it in your tummy? Do you get wobbly legs? So just noticing what that feels like. Good. And how strong that feels out of 10 right now. So I'm going to tap through and describe various symptoms as we're tapping. And you're going to repeat after me as we tap, and that's going to start to clear and reduce and release that anxiety response. So as I say, the more specific you can be, the more effective it is. But as we're tapping in a group, which is incredibly powerful as well, but I'm going to be pretty general. So we'll just go with it and you can get an understanding of how that is. Okay, so just bringing to mind that anxious in making thing. What happens to your body? Where do you feel that? So you might have tension in the shoulders, feeling the breath. You might have a shallow breath. You probably noticed if you're already tense, you stop breathing into your tummy. You kind of breathe up here, which is why another reason why this is a good point to tap. Good. So just notice that anxious response. Keep one hand over your heart, start tapping on top of the head and repeating after me, all this anxiety. And the same point, beginning of the eyebrow, all this anxiety. And side of the eye, all this anxiety in my body. And under the eye, all this anxiety. Under the nose. I can feel the change in my breath. The chin. I can feel this tension in my body. Collarbone. All this anxiety. And under the arm. Releasing it now. And palm facing your thumb up. All this anxiety in my body. And first finger. This tension. Middle finger, all this anxiety. Ring finger. This reaction when I think about what I have to do. Little finger. When I think about that situation. Side of the hand. Letting it go. Top of the head. All this anxiety. Beginning of the eyebrow. This anxiety in my body. And the side of the eye. All this anxiety. Good. Just notice any shifts as you're tapping through. Under the eye. This tension. Under the nose. This affects my breathing. On the chin. This increase in my heart rate. And collarbone. All this tension in my body. And under the arm. All this anxiety. In the thumb. Starting to let go. First finger. Feeling calmer. Middle finger. All this anxiety. Ring finger. Releasing it now. Little finger. Feeling more relaxed. Side of the hand. Feeling calm. Lovely. And just close your eyes if you haven't already. Bring your hands back over your heart and just take a few breaths. Good. Notice what your body feels like now, what that feels like in your body. Notice how your breathing is. Just check in on those symptoms that you had at the beginning. Again, bring to mind that situation. Just, again, you don't want to trigger it too much. Just think about that. How does it feel now? What's that trigger like now? And I'd love to hear how you're doing. And we're going to get into a bit more detail now. So if you're feeling an anxiety or about something, if you can tell me where it is in your body, that would be really helpful, and I can help you to clear that right now. So where do you feel that anxiety when you tune in? Chest and heart, neurodiverse anxiety. Pain in my shoulders, great, thank you everyone. This is really helpful. So it's shoulders, chest, heart. Okay, really good. Lovely, so I'll be focusing on these feelings. So focus on the anxiety in your body, what it feels like, that pain in your shoulders, chest and shoulders, legs recently as well. Okay, so just close your eyes, tune into that feeling, take a few breaths, and notice what color it is. If it has a texture, this energy in your body, this pain, this tension. If it was made of something, what would it be made of? Does it have a shape? Just get a real sense of this feeling in your body. How strong is it out of 10? Great. So keep breathing into that. And we're going to tap some more rounds. And before we do that, just imagine a colour or an energy that's going to help you to release and clear this anxiety from your body. If there was a colour that would support and help you, what would that be? Just imagine that coming in through your head now as you breathe in, breathing this support into your body, in and around you. And as you breathe out, feel the tension and the anxiety start to release. So breathing in, noticing the tension. Breathing out, letting it go. And if that anxiety is a 7 out of 10, for example, then see if you can bring that down to a 6.5 or a 6 as you breathe out. So breathing in, noticing it. Breathing out, letting it go. Good. We're going to do some more tapping in a moment, just breathing for the moment. Breathing in that colour. Releasing the tension. Great, lovely. And again, you can keep your eyes closed and I'll tell you where to tap. Just keep breathing that lovely new energy in through your head and tapping on top of the head and repeating after me all this diverse anxiety. Beginning of the eyebrow, the top of the nose. This anxiety in my chest and in my heart. Side of the eye. All this pain in my shoulders. Under the eye. All this anxiety in my chest and shoulders. Under the nose. All this tension in my legs. And on the chin. All this anxiety in my body. Nice deep breath. And tapping the collarbone. All this anxiety in my chest and in my heart. And onto the arm. Side of the rib cage. All this anxiety in my body. And the thumb. All this pain in my shoulders. First finger. All this anxiety in my chest and in my heart. And middle finger. All this anxiety in my body. Ring finger. Releasing it now. Little finger. All this anxiety in my body. Side of the eye. Starting to let go. I'm going to keep tapping one hand over your heart, tapping on top of the head. All these things that trigger my anxiety. Beginning of the eyebrow. This situation that triggers my anxiety. And the side of the eye. I wish it would go away. Under the eye. I wish I could change things. Under the nose. I wish I could change how I feel. And on the chin. All this anxiety in my body. Collarbone. I can't change what's going on out there. Side of the, under the arm, side of the rib cage. But I can change how I feel on the thumb. All this anxiety. First finger. Anxiety tends to be about the future. Middle finger. It tends to be about what if. Ring finger. What if this goes wrong? Little finger. What if people think badly of me? Side of the hand. What if it's not safe? Top of the head. All these what ifs I have. Beginning the eyebrow. I want things to be right. Side of the eye. I want to be safe. Under the eye. I want to do the right thing. Under the nose. My unconscious mind wants me to stay safe. On the chin. That's its number one priority. Collarbone. My unconscious mind wants me to be safe. The arm. And I want to be safe too. The thumb. And sometimes I'm afraid even though I'm not in danger. First finger. A feeling is not a fact. Middle finger. And when my body's afraid, ring finger, it finds things to be afraid of. Little finger. And that makes it worse. Side of the hand. And then it gets more anxious. Top of the head. I go round in circles. Beginning of the eyebrow. And I guess I just get stuck in anxiety. Side of the eye. And it's my mind trying to keep me safe. Under the eye. Sending me this emotion. Under the nose. To try and keep me safe. On the chin. But it makes me feel really unsafe. Collarbone. Starting to let go. Good. Just staying on the collarbone for a moment and just think about those phrases we've just said. The unconscious wants you to stay safe. It wants you to stay as you are. It doesn't want things to change. And so it's telling your body that you're not safe. But you can look around yourself and know that you're not in danger. Right here, right now, I'm safe. And even if I'm thinking about things in the future that I'm going to do, right now I'm okay. And the more you can feel okay right now, the easier it will be in the future. And often the anticipation of something can be much worse than the actual event. So because we've got all the what ifs and all the scenarios of what might go wrong, when you actually rock up and do what you're doing, you handle it in the moment, you can do what you're doing. So it's the anticipation often that can be more upsetting. So I remember watching Will Smith last year at some point, talking about he was lying in bed once thinking about he was going to do a plane jump the following week. And he said he was in full stress, fight or flight mode. He's like, hang on, I'm in bed. I'm safe. I'm not on an aeroplane right now. What's going on? He's like, I don't have to feel this until I'm there, until I'm in the plane. Jump. I mean, who would want to jump out of a plane? But our imagination is so vivid. The unconscious is so strong that it sends that message. You just focusing on the thought of jumping out of an aeroplane, doing a parachute jump, triggers that. The whole body's going, don't do it. He wasn't there. It wasn't happening, but his whole body was terrified. And that's what we do all the time. Our thoughts are more triggering than actually the things that we're going through. So just think about that for a moment. It's not what you're going through, it's how you feel about it. It's not what's happening, it's how you respond to it. And with tapping, you can start to find the triggers of why you're responding in that way and start to choose something else. Good, so just take a few breaths. We've done quite a lot of work already. You might notice that you're yawning. You might feel quite tired. You might have your tummy rumbling. You might be wanting to stretch and roll your shoulders. In fact, do that right now. Have a pause. Stretch. Check in with yourself. Let me know how you're getting on. So if you can pop anything that you've noticed into the chat box. How are you feeling now? How's that anxiety? Did any of that ring true for you? How did that feel? What's that anxiety like? Always reassuring to hear. Good. Feeling a bit tired, but relaxed. Good. Yeah, I always think it's like carrying around a heavy box. All this stress, and don't you put a heavy box down, you go, oh, goodness, that's taking a lot of work. You can sort of realise how much energy you've been putting in to the anxiety. It's very stressful on the body. It takes up a lot of energy. Okay, good. So people feeling some shifts. Lovely. We're going to do a little bit more tapping in a moment to see what else we can clear, and then we're going to start to bring in something more positive to take over. I'm just going to talk a little bit about our core beliefs. So I mentioned that's one of the things that can trigger the anxiety. So core beliefs are the way that we feel about ourselves and about the world. And we will have our own individual set of beliefs. There are some core beliefs that often a lot of people have, like I'm not good enough, or if I try, I will fail. There are these kind of things that we all have different kind of aspects of the same thing. But we experience our emotions for the first time in the first 6 years of life. And we then start to set up or work out how to function in the world, basically. So the people around us are teaching us what to do. We're finding our own way, and we're finding out our decisions about ourselves, how we feel about ourselves, and so we're looking at our parents to see how parents work, how women work, how men work, teachers, siblings, and we're just gathering information. So the first 2 years of life, the brainwave is the same as when you're in deep hypnotic state. So it only takes 1 or 2 repetitions of an experience to kind of make it a belief, basically, in your mind. Between the age of 2 and 6, the brainwave is the same as light hypnosis. So we're still very suggestible, but it can take 3 or 4 repetitions of a behavior before that kind of becomes concrete. And then age 6, 7 onwards, or 7 to 14, you're in a lighter, more conscious state. And then 14 onwards, you're fully in the adult brainwave state, which is the one we're all in. So in those first 6 years of life, that's when most of the programming is happening. So if you're a parent and you have children under the age of 6, or even if you don't, because when I found that out, I think with my son's 6th birthday, it was like, the damage is done, start savings therapy, it's all over, it's too late. There are lots that you can do to change anything, and whatever you've done, you haven't done it wrong. We're all doing our best at any one time. So the more you can do for yourself now and start to clear, and the awareness you have, you're going to help everyone around you, including your children. But you might think back to times in your childhood, if there was anything sort of significantly traumatic happening in those early years, or at any point in your life, really. But those early years are when we set up these core beliefs about ourselves and how we function. So let's use an example like public speaking. So if you have a fear of public speaking, that might go back to your first day at school. You had to stand up in front of the class and maybe say your name, and if you didn't enjoy that and you didn't like people looking at you, the mind will go, when there's people looking at me, I don't like it, so get out of there. So it starts to set up a response in that situation. Maybe the next time you have to stand up in front of the classroom, you feel anxious and maybe you fall over and people laugh, so that reinforces that first decision. So the mind's like, well, definitely don't like people looking at me. Going forward 20, 30, 40, 50 years, you've got to stand up at work and give a presentation. Your whole body's trembling in terror. You're trying to get out of there. And a lot of it goes back to those first experiences. You're absolutely safe. You know what you're doing as an adult, but those early pictures and early feelings come into your body. So the unconscious has no concept of past, present, or future. everything's happening now to your unconscious mind. Excuse me. So when we tap in the present, we heal those early pictures too, and early traumas. So you don't have to worry about where all those things came from, or some of the work that I do is about going into memories and healing specific memories to clear resolution from the past and therefore in the present day. But anything you're doing now is also going to release stress and trauma from the past. So you don't need to know where any of it's coming from. You might have a really clear idea where it does come from. We're going to clear a little bit of that now, and then we're going to move into the future and see yourself in the future happy, calm, relaxed, confident. And you're going to bring some of that into now. So as I've been talking about those core beliefs, you might have some memories triggered. You might have some understandings and realizations about why you feel anxious now. Who did you learn that from? How was your family? How did they deal with stress and anxiety? Just notice what happens to your body when you think about that. We're going to tap a little bit more on that to see what we can release from the past. As I say, we're not going to go into any trauma, but just be aware that that's kind of, again, in the back of the mind. So just tap on the collarbone for a moment and breathe. Check in with your body. How are you feeling now? And if anything has come up, you could make a note. Do let me know if you're okay, if you have any questions. We'll have time at the end to come on if you want to ask something specific. Good. I'm just going to do a couple of rounds of clearing and releasing anxiety from the past. So keeping one hand over your heart, tapping on top of the head. You can close your eyes, repeating after me. I know I've had moments in my past. Beginning with the eyebrow. We all have trauma in our past. Side of the eye. Unresolved moments. Under the eye. Things that I got wrong. Under the nose. Moments when I was afraid. On the chin. Letting it go. Collarbone. All these past moments. Under the arm. My unconscious remembers all of them. Side of the nail on the thumb. And I can let them go now. First finger. Whatever I've been through, I got through it. Middle finger. Right here, right now, I'm safe. Ring finger. I don't need to look into my past. Little finger. I'm safe right here, right now. Side of the hand. Letting it all go. Top of the head. Any moments from my past. Beginning of the eyebrow. Whether it's my recent past. Side of the eye. In the last few months. Under the eye. In the last few years. Under the nose, or all the way back into my childhood. On the chin. I don't have to remember. Collarbone. I don't have to know where this is coming from. Under the arm. I can release whatever I need to release. On the thumb. I've always been doing my best. First finger. And I haven't always felt safe. Middle finger. And lots of things have happened to me. Ring finger. But they all make me who I am today. Little finger. And I'm doing everything I can to look after myself. Side of the hand. I have good self-care. Top of the head. I recognize that I'm human. Beginning of the eyebrow. That I'm always doing my best. Side of the eye. Even if it doesn't feel like it. Under the eye. I'm doing my best. Under the nose. And I'm feeling calmer. On the chin. I'm clearing and releasing whatever I need to. Collarbone. In order to feel calmer and happier right now. Under the arm. All these moments of anxiety from my past. And the thumb. letting them go. First finger, releasing them now. Middle finger, letting it all go. Ring finger, I'm safe and I got through it. Little finger, I'm safe and all is well. And side of the hand, feeling good, feeling calm, feeling proud. Lovely. And hands over your heart, keep your eyes closed. And just notice what that feels like. And again, breathe in that lovely positive energy in through your head and down into your body, all the way down to your toes for that grounding you and relaxing you. And now in a moment, we're going to move into your future. So if there's something that's going on for you right now, so for example, coming out of lockdown, as we've been talking about, or maybe there's another situation that's completely unrelated, then I'd like you to imagine yourself moving forward through time. Keep your eyes closed, move forward through time to a point, an unspecified point in the future, way beyond to the point of resolution with this situation. So whatever it is that's going on, see yourself in the future having got through it. Wave a wand, it's resolved. You don't need to know how or when or why. You don't even need to know what that resolution is. Just know that it's okay. You've got through it, it's healed. Just in the same way, things from the past, you can look back and go, oh yeah, if I'd known at the beginning, I would have been okay. But now it's resolved in the past. So just moving forward into your future, so you can look back on whatever's going on now and feel that resolution, feel that it's okay. Connect with that future you. So step into that picture and connect with the future you. And you can talk to that future you, get a sense of what's going on. You can ask their advice. Just notice what it feels like to have this completed and resolved. I'm going to go quiet just for a moment while you connect into that feeling. Just notice how that feels. Lovely. Good. And I'll ask that future you to step into your body for a moment so you can experience what it feels like to be them. Feel this relief, release. It's all okay. Feel any stress and tension falling away. It's this future you who's resolved and happy. Good. Notice what that feels like. What colour is this feeling, this future you energy? Find somewhere in your body so you can store this feeling, so you can access it whenever you need to. So you might keep it in your heart. You might keep it in your thumb and finger. And now take a moment to send this energy back into your past, all the way back to a tiny you. And again, you don't need to go into any memories, just send this energy, this resolution, this feeling that it's all going to be okay. Send it all the way back in time. Send it forward into your future, back into your past, out into the universe, into your home, into the room, into every conversation, every communication. Just breathe and send this out. Again, I'm going quiet for a moment and then just come back and open your eyes when you're ready. Take your time, sending that wherever it needs to go. Good. Lovely. And again, just opening your eyes when you're ready and coming back to the room. And I would love to know how you found that, how you're feeling. So if you wouldn't mind just dropping a few words into the chat box, let me know how you are, what that felt like. How are you doing? Positive. Good. Lovely. energized, fantastic. Positive as well, lovely. Really good. Oh, good, amazing. That was so lovely and relaxing. Good, lovely. Fabulous. Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you. So that's the essence of tapping, really. You're finding whatever it is you're feeling in the present day, using these techniques to change how you feel in the moment. Basically, you're recognizing what you're feeling, using this technique, and you're feeling differently. That's what we're doing. The more you can do this, the more your body gets used to it. It's like anything. It's going to the gym, joining the gym, you build up that muscle. This is the kind of energy release muscle, if you like, emotion release. So if you can start to use all sorts of different techniques, tapping is a really, really good one to use as part of your sort of daily self-care. You know, wash your hair, brush your teeth, clean your energy. That's how I like to see it. So you can do a couple of rounds of tapping in the morning, in the evening, as a sort of general. You can kind of, if you get home after you've been out sort of in town or around people and stuff, you can just kind of tap and clear it out. If you're going into a situation or you're worried about traveling or something like that, then you can tap beforehand. You can notice how you feel and you can tap and start to clear it before you go in. You can sorry, can you say to everyone I said thank you for coming? Yes, absolutely. Thank you for coming from Denise, and a massive thank you. Oh yeah. So sorry, I'm going to start. I stopped completely. What was I? So we go to start to use it every day to clear out what you're going through. So I just want to tell you about a few things that I'm doing. So I do a monthly webinar, just like this one, free webinar. And if you're interested, you can sign up each month on a different topic. So last week was the last one, and that was on finding your voice. So building boundaries, finding your voice. So that's a really great technique to help to get to use the techniques yourself. I'm going to send through a map of the points, some other bits and pieces, and for how to tap so you can learn how to do it. So someone's saying, do you have to say the words or can you just tap? You can just tap and breathe. So if you're feeling quite stressed out, as I say, the emergency tapping point, you can just tap or rub or hold this point. So if you're on having a difficult phone call or in a difficult situation, you can just put your hand over your heart and just, you don't have to think about anything. You can just tap and breathe. You can tap your fingers sort of under the table. If you don't, if you're in a meeting, you can tap, start, because what you're doing when you're focusing on tapping, you're bringing your focus away from the problem, which is over here, into thinking about, okay, what am I doing? I've got to tap the points, right? I'm going to do that. So it's practical. It helps you to do something. So that starts to shift your energy as well. It can be really helpful to say the words because you're really focusing on what the issue is, and it helps you to stay focused. So if you have an anxiety in your chest and it was red and spiky, for example, you could say, this red spiky anxiety in my chest. This red spiky anxiety in my chest. And as you keep saying the words, it helps you to stay on track, because when you're tapping on your own, like anything, your subconscious will go, blah, 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 I need to do the washing up and I've got to do, oh yeah, what am I doing? So if you're saying the words, tracking on what you're doing, it's easier to stay on course when you're on your own. But you can absolutely just tap and breathe. That's also another really good one. So on my website, I have various free resources as well. There's something called the chakra tapping. So you can put one hand on one chakra, tap through the points, just breathing, and then put your hand on the next chakra and tap through the points. And it's quite like meditative, but it sort of clears through your system too. Okay, so yeah, Denise says, thank you so much, everyone, for coming. And a massive thank you to me. Thank you for giving up time to this tonight. It's my absolute pleasure. And thank you, everybody, for being here. If anyone has any questions, wants to know more, do please drop an email to Denise or join the webinar next month, whatever you'd like to do. That'd be great. And I'd love to hear how you're doing. Any other thoughts or comments would be great. I love talking about this, and I can do it till the cows come home. So the basics are Great. Oh, someone's saying, thank you for tonight. Great reminder to do this more often. You're fabulous. Oh, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thanks for coming. That is it. As I say, just like going to the gym, if you go and do the work, you're going to get stronger. If you look after your energy, you're going to get more into that. So now, because I've been tapping for a long time now, if I feel a tension in my body, you can just start tapping. Your body goes, oh yeah, I'm letting that go, and you can really quickly just come out of that. Great. So thank you so much. Look forward to signing up to the seminar. It's the third Wednesday of every month. So my website is stressfreelifeacademy.com, or you can go to Instagram, Stress Free Life Academy, or Facebook. All the links are on all the social media. And you can sign up to my webinar, and then you get links for the rest of the year. So once you sign up once, you get access to all of them. Also on my YouTube video, I've got past webinars on there too, which is Stress Free Life Academy. So there we go. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for your lovely comments. Hope you're feeling less anxious. Let's just check in with that feeling. In fact, what that was, that thing right at the beginning. Don't go into it too much. How are you feeling about that now? You know that it's going to be okay because you've seen your future. But just tune into that and notice what that feels like now. Breathe. Know that you're okay and come back into the room. Good. Lovely. So yeah, as I say, any questions, please get in contact. Thanks so much for being here. My absolute pleasure. Thank you. And I hope to see you again. Lovely. Thanks, everyone. Thank you. Good night. Thanks.